everybody. Daryl Rotenberry here again, and with another message for the Tea Party. And one of the things we're going to talk about today is a topic that's actually been discussed backwards, forwards, over and under, every which way you can think of. It's a topic that's actually very important, especially when it comes to us tea baggers, as we're sometimes called. Okay, before we do that though, I want to ask a question. I want to ask actually a very serious question, just to kind of get the mental juices flowing there. What is a democratic and free country's first line of defense against tyranny? Again, what is a democratic and free country's first line of defense against tyranny? Any guesses? All right, all right. Not gonna hold you in too much suspense. If you're thinking that it's our military, it actually it is not. The first line of defense for any country that's a free country, that considers itself to be free, that says it's free, is its press. Now, in the Constitution, we are actually guaranteed the right to a free press. And it's very crucial to maintain that kind of freedom that we have to have a free press. But the press must also remember this. They must remain objective, unbiased, and even. They must be fair in their reporting and state basically just the facts. That's it. But unfortunately, in this day and age, that's not what our free press has done. Our free press has decided to actually take sides. They've decided to trumpet one cause over another. They've even decided to make some people look better than others. What if I told you that a country that calls itself free decided that its news reporters, its news stations, except for one, that one being, of course, critical against that particular person who was a presidential candidate, a candidate who was heralded by the supposed objective, free-thinking, non-biased type news reporters and channels, to be an agent of change, to be an agent of hope, that things are going to be better for the little guy, and that the future is coming and the past is the past, and we have everything to look forward to, and this guy will just be the best ever. Well, I could go on and on. If you're thinking that we're talking about current President Barack Obama, you're actually kind of right, but that's not who we're talking about. We're talking about Hugo Chavez of Venezuela. Hugo Chavez, when he was running for president, every news station in Caracas and every place else in Venezuela, except for one basically, said this guy's going to be the cat's meow. He's going to do everything to make this country better. Really? Is that what's really happened? Because now he's in control of all of those stations except for the one that remains critical of him, and I don't think they'll be able to last much longer. But since Hugo Chavez has come into power, let's see, that was back in February of 1999. Here we are, 2010. He's still in charge. He began to change Venezuela right off the bat. He began to socialize everything. He took over all kinds of national businesses, the oil company, everything. And people are worse off now than they were before. Sound familiar? Anytime you have a country that considers itself to be free, a free press is crucial. And again, in our country, we have a press that's decided that they're going to champion a cause, whether it be, I don't know, children's rights, whether it be anything. I mean, anything at all. I'm going to give you just an example of just how they have a certain mindset where they think that certain people fit in this category, certain people fit in this category, and then in this one. They can't just see the facts. Here's what we're going to talk about. Back in 1998, June the 7th, James Byrd in Jasper, Texas, was attacked, beaten, bound, and dragged to his death behind a truck by 3 men. I can't think of only just a couple of things that would be more brutal. Nobody should ever have to go through this. I mean, this is a form of hatred and violence that nobody should ever be subjected to. And any time this sort of thing happens, any time a person is selected simply because of their ethnicity or their gender or whatever, the press should always mention this. They should always go out after them. But when James Byrd was killed, NAACP President Kwesi Mfume said, "We will say in a collective voice and in a real way, in this country, never again, never again. But it did happen again. It happened in Jasper, Texas, same city where James Byrd was killed. But this guy's name was Ken Tillery. 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 I'm going to let you look up the facts on Ken Tillery's death. But he was killed January 2002. He was coaxed into a vehicle, later beaten, bound, and ran over by his attackers and dragged to his death. Yet, this particular crime, the same particular crime, he was chosen specifically for his ethnicity and slated for death. But the press didn't bring any attention to this because Ken Tillery didn't fit their mold. He didn't fit what they would consider to be a victim, even though he was. Discrimination is discrimination, and it doesn't matter who is doing the discrimination or who is the victim of discrimination. It doesn't matter, and anybody could be a victim of discrimination at any time for anything. But that's not the way the press sees it. When you start to have a press that advocates specific causes or just champions a specific group or pits one group against another, freedom can be lost. We saw in Venezuela this very real idea that hope and change was going to be affected, but look where they are now. We saw it here in this country, this hope and change and yes we can, and a free press did not mention anything bad about the specific president that we have now. But what if I told you that it's even worse than that? Right now, the entire world is going through a what they call it, a recession, but I mean, I don't know what you call it anymore, because I don't think things are going to get much better anytime soon. In fact, they're probably going to wind up getting a little bit worse. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong. But what if I told you that it was the press's fault? This free, objective, unbiased media, it's all their fault. Every single last bit of it. Would you believe me? Back when Bill Clinton was president, he decided that he wanted to pressure the banks to make sure that people got houses that really couldn't afford them. So you could say that it's the bank's fault. You could say that it's the people's fault. And to some extent it is. But the media did not tell the story. They did not tell the story of how President Clinton was pressuring the banks to get everybody to, you get a house, and you get a house, and you get a house. They didn't tell that story. They just decided that, this is a good thing. And no matter what the repercussions are, it has to be good. They took a side. And look at the ramifications of it now. Anytime a free press considers itself to be free, they must first be free of their own beliefs, their own biases, of course. What's the word I'm looking for? Their own preconceived notions, their own prejudice. They must tell the facts. Simply, basically, everything else. And as opposed to taking a side. We as Tea Party people, or tea baggers, whatever, have been vilified. They took a stand, and their stand was against the American people. I'm totally shocked by this. I guess I shouldn't be, but whatever. And unfortunately, we don't really have the leaders that are going to stand up against this kind of self-imposed tyranny. We could say, let's take, for example, John McCain. For years, he decided that he was going to be the one who was going to stand against the Republican Party and be all kind of mavericky and all that good stuff. Did he really think that they were going to be his friend when he was going to run against the Democrat? He was fooling himself. And all the others that we've had before, and I hate to name names, but unfortunately I'm going to have to. Let's say Sarah Palin, Newt Gingrich, Rush Limbaugh, all of them, even like people like Mitt Romney, they can't seem to stand up against this media. The only reason why they're declining now, this lamestream media, is that I like to call them, or that's a lot of people like to call them, is because it's their own arrogance. They're becoming a victim of their own arrogance, but don't think that they won't fight back. We need a leader who's going to be able to do that. We're going to need a leader who's not going to be just brash, but be brusque. Somebody who's going to be able to not only tell them to go, basically F themselves, but who's not afraid of the, what's the word, the pushback that the press is going to give. Because if you push them back, they're going to push you, and you have to push them back harder. We can't do it. We just have to find a leader who's going to do it. Well, anyway, that's all I have to say about this time. I did want to mention we are going to go into this topic of hate crimes and how it's a violation of the Constitution, but we'll go into that another time. But anyway, thank you so much for your attention. See you next time.